Hello and welcome to the Wow Podcast. I'm your host, Darshawn McAway, and we have some special authors on the line. We have Lee Neely and Jan Powell. They are the authors of Haunting Magic. Ladies, how are you doing this evening?
I'm doing great. I'm very excited to be on your podcast.
Excellent. So before we get into your books, I want to know about you personally. I want to know a little bit about your background. First, we'll start off with Jan.
Okay. Well, I have been a writer my entire life. I knew at a very young age that it's what I wanted to do. And so I pursued that. I went to the University of Tennessee, and I went into radio and started writing commercials. I was creative director for a radio station when I met Lee. Several decades ago, and we were both writing and trying to get published, and I ended up publishing 24 romance novels, 23 with Silhouette Books, and 1 with Avon Books, and just really enjoyed it, loved writing the happily ever after endings, and then I got kind of tired of it, and I went back to a regular day job, and I've been with that. I work in communications for a large insurance company in Chattanooga. But thanks to my good friend Lee, I'm back writing fiction as well.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Lee, how about you?
Well, I started out working in small town newspapers with weekly newspapers back in the 70s. And just kept moving up. Finally, when we moved to Nashville, I worked for several different magazines and have managed to keep writing in each place we moved with my husband's job. And currently, I'm managing editor of 2 publications here in Central Florida.
Let's talk about your new book, Haunting Magic. 2 things. Why that title, and why are you so curious about magic?
We love magic, and we love thinking that the person beside you could be a supernatural being. It's something we've always enjoyed. We love to watch shows like Supernatural and Stranger Things and
The X-Files.
Yes. And we read a lot of books with that, and it just fascinates us. And I first came up with the idea for our first book, For True Nature, that the lead character is an attorney who can turn into any kind of cat he wants to be.
An attorney who's a shapeshifter. It's a very original idea.
Okay.
And then we started working together by the end of that book. And with the next book, we decided we wanted to have 3 young witches who basically had a quest. There's a curse on their family that includes the woman in white, which is a malevolent spirit that comes to each generation and takes one of the young witches as a tribute because she is so angry about her own circumstances. And the first young witch is the most powerful. She's introduced in Awakening Magic. Of course, they're all introduced in that book. We learned that Brenna is the powerful witch. She has the most powers among her generation. And her sister Fiona is a medium and a witch. She talks to ghosts all the time. And then Eva Grace is an empath and a healer as well as a witch. So each of them have their own special gifts and they've decided they're 21st century women and they're not going to take it anymore from this silly ghost and her demon who tags along every time she appears.
And Fiona is the heroine of the book that we're focusing on for this podcast. She is the heroine of Haunting Magic. And because she can speak to ghosts, it seemed appropriate to name the book Haunting Magic, since she's a witch as well as being able to help people cross over to the next realm, deal with hauntings, help people understand why someone who's passed away is still clinging to this world as well. And she actually has a podcast, her own web show, and that's how she comes to the attention of the hero of our story, because he thinks he's going to make her into a television star, a reality ghost hunting star, and comes to town to try to convince her to do that. But she's pretty caught up in solving the family curse. So there are a lot of complications in their relationship.
Okay, so with that being said, these series that you came up with, do they have the potential to be turned into an actual movie or an actual TV show?
We would love to see that happen.
Mm-hmm. We've actually been talking about casting for that movie from the moment that we came up with the book. One of the things that Lee and I have always done, I did it with all of the books that I wrote on my own. I know Lee's done it for years because she published a number of short stories herself, but we always find someone, a photograph, who looks like the character that we're writing about, and we use that as part of our storyboard to write the story. So we definitely think very visually, and we think that there's a lot of action in these books, and it would make a great TV series or a movie.
Can you tell us where your book can be purchased and where to find you on social media?
We're on Twitter, and our handle is @NeelyPowell3. We also have our own Facebook page, Neely Powell Author, and we have a website that is Neely Powell Author.
And we love to hear from readers. So
Excellent.
we would love to hear, and we do giveaways on our Facebook page, and love to hear about supernatural stories, people that have seen ghosts and have their own tales of magic. We love that. We get some pretty good dialogue going about that.
Excellent. Well, you're listening to the Wow Podcast. I'm your host, Darshawn McAway. Go to wowpodcast.shop. That's wowpodcast.shop. We're speaking to authors Neely Powell. Witches of New Morn series continues in Haunting Magic. Ladies, thank you for your time. I greatly appreciate it.
Thank you.